met you many years ago, and she spoke so beautifully in English and Kannada and about translation. I was completely mesmerized. I never thought at that time that I would be sharing a stage with her and that she would be asking me questions. Just imagine that. So I'm thrilled that she's here. I'm also very, very delighted to have Pratibha here as well. And yes, please, another. And Satish Chapparke, who's the founder of the Book Brahma Literature Festival. He's here too. But I'm most honored with the most unexpected presence of Nisar's sister Naseem. And her husband, the Alimullah Khan. I didn't know them at all. I didn't know them. I found them through my cousin who happens to know them. They are big Rotarians. Anybody who's in the Rotary knows them. And, and they just decided to show up today. So I'm very, very grateful. Thank you for coming. And there are many others who you all know who you are, my dear friends. So many of you have turned up from so far away. So thank you very much for being here. And now I'll hand over the stage to Vanamala and she can ask. Also, disclaimer, this is my first book of translation. I'm not an expert on anything, but Nisar came to me organically. This whole process, it just happened. And in my life, this is what I have done. When things come, I just take them. I don't overthink it. So it's here and Vanamala.
Yeah. Translation, I don't think it's working. I don't think it's working. Yeah. So I'll try and speak up. And if you can't hear me, just do that and I'll speak even louder. Yeah?
Come and sit here.
I'm feeling very important this morning, not because of all that was said here, but on weekends when I have to set out, the roles get reversed in the family. While through the week I'm busy sweating in the kitchen and packing lunch and seeing everybody out and dropping them to the school bus and things like that. Today is my day. So my son is busy booking the taxi for me, my daughter-in-law is making tindi for me, and the tiny one, 5-year-old, is entrusted with the job of holding on to the mobile, which she has to hand it over to me as I'm stepping out of the house. So I feel like Queen Victoria today. So, right? So today is my day. And this is the 4th event in this month that I'm attending. All 4 events have to do with translation. Can you believe it? The first event was June 7th, and that was in BIC, Kuvempu's novel, translated into English. And the second event was a book of history by Rajendra Chenni, and a very important book of history. And a third event was Vasudendra's collection of essays from Kannada into English. And today is poetry. Look how rich Kannada is.
Yes.
And there is really that much to explore in Kannada for people who have the heart to do it. Right? A moment ago, Roopa was saying how organically Nisar's poetry came to her. So it is a matter of the heart. Translation is all about heart. And so, you see, those who have the heart to translate, there's God's plenty to choose from in Kannada. I can say that. So congratulations to 3 actors in this process. First one is the publisher. Because these days poetry doesn't sell. Who reads poetry?
Oh my God, I'm a writer.
Yeah, we are all.
Poems awaiting publication.
Yeah, exactly. So it's our experience that to find a publisher for poetry, is hard, and so we should all be doing something towards that, And the presence of all of you today, gives me so much more hope that we are on the right path, So. Therefore, congratulations to Seagull who have put in their effort and money and name to publish a translated collection of poems. And then the congratulations to Bookworm, who are organizing this event in such a warm, homely, intimate kind of space where I can see every face in the audience and feel so good, I tell you, so good. Huh? So this is how it should be, and that's fine too. And of course, to Roopa. Huh? Very special this is, because 100 poems, not one, not two, but 100 poems translated over, she tells me, 10 years or more or less, maybe 8.5, but that long, that long, okay. And therefore, it's a sustained, painstaking, caring translation. What comes through when you open the book is a kind of love, is a kind of care, the kind of thought she has been able to give to Nisar's poetry, which deserves it all the way, no question, right? So, a good poet and a caring, capable translator have come together, and you have this book before you, and it's a treat, right? It's a treat. And this is poetry that Nisar has written over 50 years, not one, not two, but 50 years, a lifetime's commitment to writing poetry. And the poems have been chosen from different phases of his life, and what you get is a very composite picture of a poet and his growth and his context and his own development as a thinking, feeling human being, right? And I'm sure if Nisar were here today, he would have felt deeply joyous at seeing such a book. And you can see that there's an introduction that Roopa has written in a very, it's not an academic introduction, it's a very personal introduction that she has offered, but with all the insights and information that you would need to appreciate the poetry. But what is very unique is that at the end of the book, there is a section called Translator's Notes. And under each of these, in this section, she has taken up each collection from where the few poems have been chosen, and then written about that collection, when did it come out, what is special about it, and connected it to one or two poems where there are some footnotes, if necessary, she has provided. Because these days people say no need for footnotes, no need for introductions, no need for anything, right? But I think for a translated work, it's important that we tell our readers where, because it has not come from the air, it has come from a particular, ಒಂದು ಮಣ್ಣು, ಒಂದು ನೆಲ, ಒಂದು ಬಾನು, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಕಾವ್ಯ ಹೆಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಆ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳದೆ ಹೋದರೆ I don't think it can be a complete experience. Therefore, you have that in plenty here, and it's an act of scholarship. While the translating is an act of imagination, the kind of introduction she has done is a work of scholarship, and I really appreciate it. And as readers, you will also appreciate it. Reading through these nuances, that the introduction and the notes bring to your reading is very important. So what you get is this kind of a picture of a man who lived and wrote in very, very different times in some ways from today, right? In the 1970s, when I first read Sanjay Aidaramale, Amma Achara Nanu, Amma, Tradition and I, that's the name of the poem in English. And it kind of created such a movement, such a sense of joy and fun, and also at the same time, look at here. Here is a person, a Muslim poet, who has the confidence to kind of poke gentle fun at himself and his home circumstances. Something like that seems so incapable. Like we are not able to do something like that today because we live in such a polarized world. But Nisar, is that perfect example of a Renaissance man, a man who was well versed in the classics, East and West, right? And he was a very well read man, and he brought all of that, a true liberal humanist of that time. And he was modern at the same time, and the kind of knowledge he had of Indian Hindu scriptures, Buddhism, all of it is something, it's a revelation actually. And that kind of mind, which was open to several influences, his own, because he was a devout Muslim, and yet he was able to practice a certain kind of Catholicism in his life and in his poetry, which is a very, very rare and precious thing today in our midst. So at least for that, it's not that you don't see the angst, like you'll see the growing angst of a Muslim thinker, poet, in his poetry. So more about it as we go along. And there's only one word that comes to mind when you think of Nisar. Nisar is equal to Nityotsava. Alva?
Yeah.
So,
Nisar is equal to Jog.
Jog.
He's a hydroelectric engineer who builds dams. So he only remembers Jog.
ಯೋಗದ ಸಿರಿ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ
ಅಲ್ವಾ?
Nisar means Jog.
ಹೇಳಿ. ತುಂಗೆಯ ತೆನೆ ಬಳುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹ್ಯಾದ್ರಿಯ ಲೋಹದದಿರ ಉತ್ತುಂಗದ ನಿಲುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಹರಿದ್ವರ್ಣವನದ ತೇಗ ಗಂಧ ತರುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ. ಕೇಳಿದಿರಲ್ಲ?
ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಗಮ್ಮತ್
ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಹಾಡಿನ ಒಂದು ಗಮ್ಮತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪೊಯಿಟ್ರಿಯ ಒಂದು ಹದ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಈ ಹದ ಬೇರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದೆರಡೂ ಹದನ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೋಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಿರುತ್ತದು. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ನ ಹದನೇ ಬೇರೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಣಸೆ ಹಣ್ಣು ಹಿಂಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಥರ ಇದನ್ನೇ ಇರಲಿ, ಅದು ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಲಿ, ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಒಂದು ನಮಗೆ ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಕಿವಿ ತುಂಬ ಕಿವಿ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಬಿಗಿನ್ ವಿತ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ಯು ರೀಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಸ್, ದ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ,
so that you can all say, God, it's not a patch on the original.
ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡೋಣ. ಈ ಹಾಡನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡೋಣ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಆಯ್ತಾ?
Okay. Every day a celebration. Obviously the book had to be titled that because Nityotsava. Page number 117. In Jog's opulent light mother, in Tunga's sweet sachet, in the ore trove that shines beneath Sahyadri's proud array, in the groves of sandal and teak that in evergreen forests sway, runs an ever-living celebration, mother, a celebration of you. In the garland of thrones draped across the mists of history, in the rows of hoary edicts that sing of famous victory, in the wealth of palm leaf archives and on every temple wall, plays the eternal celebration, mother, a celebration of you. To you of glory illimited and all-pervading grace, to you of righteous word and deed and encompassing embrace, to you, O ageless liberal mind whose luster none can efface, this celebration without end, mother, this celebration of you.
Very good. It's just like Rabindranath Tagore had written it.
Yeah. So here is an example of the taste of how Roopa has translated it. But let me ask her, uh, can you think of a poem which you found very hard to translate, but you somehow managed it? Huh?
It's this one, obviously. I mean, I was so fearful. There was a lot of fear when I was translating Nityotsava because I knew it could never match that beautiful rhythm and verse and meter. But I didn't want to just do free verse also. I also wanted to keep it with some rhythm. The meter is all wrong, but at least some rhyme. I wanted to keep some rhyme. I wanted to keep some musicality, some kind of, so first two paras were okay, because it was about actual things. There was Jog, there was Tunga, there was Sahyadri, and he was talking about things, and sandal, Tega Gandha, so there was teak and sandal and Nitya Haritvarnavana, so evergreen forest. So all that was okay. And then we come to the last verse. And I was completely thrown. I said, what am I didn't, it was so hard. What is it?
ನಾನು ಓದ್ಲಾ? ಹಲವೆನ್ನದ ಹಿರಿಮೆಯೇ ಕುಲವೆನ್ನದ ಗರಿಮೆಯೇ ಸದ್ವಿಕಾಸಶೀಲ ನುಡಿಯ ಲೋಕಾವೃತ ಸೀಮೆಯೇ ಈ ವತ್ಸರ ನಿರ್ಮತ್ಸರ ಮನದುದಾರ ಮಹಿಮೆಯೇ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ.
I mean, look at that rhythm. And also each word is a sentence in English. Okay, it's all encapsulated. So I want to keep it only 4 lines and I have to make it rhyme. So, what I did, Vanamala, when I was translating in general, what I used to do was I used to read a paragraph or a verse. First I'd read the whole poem in Kannada. Then I'd read a verse. You have to read it many times. Nisar is not easy to understand in Kannada also. You have to read it many times.
Yeah.
Okay, and then finally you take one verse, and then I try to build up a mental picture of what that verse is trying to say, and then I redo it in English, saying the same thing. Because that line by line could not have been done with Nisar. It has to, because he was creating words all the time, which he would smoosh words together and make it some word, or he would use some other word in it itself, like in Kurigalu Sar, I have not marked it, but Kurigalu Sar ali ಬಂದಾಗಿದ್ದು ಅಂತನೋ ಏನೋ ಇದೆ, 3rd or 4th line. And I first thought it ಬರುವುದು ಹೋಗೋದು ಅಂತ. ಅಲ್ಲ, that is ಬಂದ್. So he uses words from other languages as well mixed into it. So you have to read it 2-3 times to understand the sense of it. So
ಸಂತತೆಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗಿ.
ಸಂತತೆಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗಿ, like so ಬಂದಾಗಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಬಂದು ಹೋದ್ರೇನೋ ಅಂತ first ಓದ್ದಾಗ. Then you have to read it again. So it's very hard. So in the end, what I did was I tried, and it was so awkward. Everything I did with the 3rd verse was completely awkward in English. Sadvikasa Sheila andre, like progress, development, horrible words to use in a poem, okay, in such a lyrical poem. So what to do? Then I said, I'll just get to the core of it. What he's really talking about is this liberality and how it, the Karnataka embraces everything, inclusiveness. So I just put that and I made my own verse.
ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಯು ಆರ್ ರೈಟ್. ಈಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾನ್ಸಾ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಆಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಜೋಗ, ತುಂಗೆ, ಸಹ್ಯಾದ್ರಿ, ದೆನ್ ನಿತ್ಯ ಹರಿದ್ವರ್ಣವನದ ತೇಗ ಗಂಧ ತರುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಹೌ ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಹಿಮದಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಶಾಸನಗಳು, ಓಲೆಗರಿಯ ಭಿತ್ತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ದೇಗುಲಗಳ ಭಿತ್ತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಇದರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಕಲ್ಚರ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಮದರ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ಅ ಮದರ್ ಹೂ ಓನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವತ್ಸರ ನಿರ್ಮತ್ಸರ ಮನದುದಾರ ಮಹಿಮೆಯೇ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೇರ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಲಾಸ್. ಈ ವತ್ಸ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಸೊ ಈ ವತ್ಸರ, your children. Vatsara.
Vatsara I thought was like an age or a...
No, one meaning of Vatsara is Samvatsara. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವತ್ಸರ ನಿರ್ಮತ್ಸರ ಮನದುದಾರ ಮಹಿಮೆ. Like you are the mahime of all these children who are liberal and generous and all of that.
Okay.
So ಅದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಥರದ್ದು ಒಂದು it's a matter of reading. It's ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನನ್ಗನ್ಸಿರೋದು.
Yeah.
But you see, these are the real problems that translations, ಗೂಗ್ಲಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಗೂಗ್ಲಿನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಂಗಪ್ಪ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ನೀವೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ ಟು ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೇ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಇದಿಲ್ಲ ಅದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ this is what you're dealing with. But in so many places, she's managed to kind of maneuver her way so beautifully. Let me ask you, ಯಾವುದೋ ಮನೋರಮ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಅಯ್ಯೋ, that's a killer actually. So just listen to her.
35, page 35. Samjuta, Rutruta, and then
Sukruta,
Vikruta, and Prakruta.
Yeah.
So there are three
sections,
verses, three sections, which is Sukruta, which is like the good, sweet kind of desire. This Manorama is a woman, by the way. Okay, so sweet kind of desire, very idealistic, very lovely, very almost platonic in its, and then comes the perversion, Vikruta, like what you're actually thinking, you just want to tear her clothes off. And then the third one is Prakruta, what is in reality. It's neither this nor that. It is just, you'll never be able to meet her or, have any, reach her.
Yeah.
She's too far away. So, will you read the first para in Kannada?
ಮನೋರಮ ಸಾಲದೇನೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಹೆಸರೇ ಮಲಗೋಬದ ಘಮಘಮ ತುಟಿಯಗಲಿಸಿ ನಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಜಾವದ 5ಕ್ಕೆ ಮಿಂಚಾದವೆ ಕೆರೆಯಂಚಿಗೆ ಹಾಲಕ್ಕಿಯ ರೆಕ್ಕೆ ತೂಗಿದವೆ ಬೀಗಿದವೆ ಪೊದೆ ಬಳ್ಳಿ ಮರಕ್ಕೆ ಚಿಲಿಪಿಲಿ ಚಿಲಿಪುಹೂಗಳ ದನಿ ಹೂಗಳ ಕುಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳುದಿಂಗಳೆ ರಂಗೋಲಿಯ ಚುಕ್ಕೆ.
Yenappa, like I didn't understand it only. I mean, you understand the sense of it, but imagine translating that halakkiya rekke and electrified minchaitu. First of all, for me, as I was saying, the problem is I have to imagine the scene. It's a visual in my mind, which then I have to translate into English. And his poetry is very visual. In the lyrical poetry, it's very visual. So I had to okay, what does he mean by this? What is this? Anyway, this is what I came up with.
Yeah.
Manorama, your very name is sweet drama, O Malgoba scented one. When you wake at 5, as is your style, and part your lips to crack a smile, dawn birds by the lake, milky white, burst into flight, electrified. Trees and vines exult and sway, birds cheer up and coo and play. In the yard, the moonlight finds a spot and coalesces into a rangoli dot. Those last two lines were I was so thrilled when I got
ನೋಡಿ, ರಂಗೋಲಿ ಚುಕ್ಕಿ ಅಂತ ರಂಗೋಲಿ ಡಾಟ್ ಆ ಥರ ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸಲ ತಕ್ಕ ಹೊಳೆಯೋದು. ದಟ್ಸ್ ನೈಸ್ ಟು. ಆ ಥರ ನನಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ. another poem I liked from her translation is that there's a sales girl, and her conversations. That's really hilarious.
That poem, original poem is very hilarious, which is why.
Vanamala, you should tell the history of it. That was the first poem. That was the milestone poem.
Why don't you tell? Just get up and tell us. ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಇದೊಂದು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡು ಪದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ. ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಸಿ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಹೇಳೀಗ.
ಮಾರಾಟಗಾತಿಯ ಮಾತುಕತೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಟಿಲ್ ದೆನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಪೋಯಟ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಒನ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಒನ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಥಕ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೋಟ್ ಮಾರಾಟಗಾತಿಯ ಮಾತುಕತೆ and changed the whole scene.
Yeah.
that gave a new direction to modern Kannada poetry.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
See,
I didn't know
coming from a poet,
Yeah.
a deep poet of Kannada.
Yeah.
So you can
And
imagine.
this is from the Sanjay Aidarmale collection, and that was 1970. It was published in 1970. Means he might have written this a little earlier, perhaps 1 year earlier, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we do this?
ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಜಸ್ಟ್ 2 lines I'll read. She read the whole poem.
Okay.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವನು ಏನಂತಾನೆ ಅಂತೀಯಾ, ಏನು ಬೇಕು ಆ ಸೀರೆನಾ, ಯಾವ ಬಣ್ಣ, ಮೆರೂನ್ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಇರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ನೀಲಿನೇ, ನೀನು ಬಂದರೂ ಹಾಗಿದೆಯಾ ಅಂದ ಕಣೆ, ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ತಿಳಿ ಬಣ್ಣನೂ ಇದೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ಲಾ, ಹ್ಞೂ ಸುಶಿ ಹಾಗಂದ, ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ತಾಳಿ.
So beautifully read. So it's a parallel conversation. She's seeing to a customer also, and so we'll talk about that. And
Yeah.
she's talking to a friend. I thought, sales girl chit chat, this is called in English. And then, do you know what he said? Hello, sir, can I help you? This saree here? Sorry, we don't have it in maroon, but many prefer blue. That I look like Marilyn Monroe, girl. That's what he said. Madam, would you like to see it in a lighter shade instead? What do you have to say to that sushi? I'm bringing it, madam. Wait. You think it was my earrings? How many meters, sir? 8? Too much? I'll give you 6 then. He looks like Gregory Peck. What? Shut up, silly. In white, madam? Let me check. He's tall and handsome, sushi. Even has a car, girl. Koshis is part of our daily evening world. Yes, madam. Printed cotton. Yesterday it was a matinee show at Plaza. You don't like checks? I can give you plain then. And oh, he has a heart of gold, girl. A softer material? We don't have that shade. He's like ice cream in summer. No, madam. The color will not fade. Shall I pack them all together separately? He's a prankster to be sure, but I love that. 3.5 meters. Best quality, rest assured. He says, I'm the moonlight over the Taj Mahal. Let me make your bill. I swear, Sushi, please hand it at the counter. I'm dreaming of him still.
And you know how she has managed to make the shift. We have a difference of opinion. I feel the sales girl is talking to herself. Within herself, there's a world in which there is this man he's attracted to, and she is kind of living or reliving those moments within her, as if she's talking to a very dear friend. But Roopa feels she has another girl next to her who is also a sales girl, and one thing and one like this, but it's open for interpretation as you like it.
And I feel also it's like how today, kids are girls of that age. They're always on their phone. They're sitting here and talking to you, messaging. So
yeah, exactly.
It reminded me of that.
And so in the printing, she has used the italics for all the outward talk with the customers, and normal print for internal talk, either between the two or so the two parallel tracks. And that's how she establishes it. So it's like I remember using this kind of thing for changing of font, indicating that. And even in the Vadaradhane, which is coming, this translation that's coming up in the very near future, the internal thought is always represented in italics, and the rest of it is in this. So even in a 10th century work, we have represented it like that. Because there are no full stops, commas in that text, we couldn't introduce fresh ones there for internal dialogues, monologues. So that's how we did that. So these are all little techniques that come to your aid to make this kind, to represent this kind of work. Whereas in the Kannada, it just is one, uniform,
like
same idu. ಅದು ಓದ್ದವ್ರಿಗೇನೆ ಓದ್ತಾ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೇನು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇದೇನು ಹಿಂಗೆ. By the time you come to the third line, you know what's happening. So that's a kind of small inventiveness that she has brought to the poem to make it more communicable. Okay. Any other poem that you whatever this America, that was a favorite of mine.
That was one of the first poems I translated actually.
Really?
I loved it.
I must say that Roopa, the poems that are of Nisar's that deal with contemporary political kind of situations, there is a much greater felicity that Roopa displays in translating them. And America is one of those poems where so much has come together, and Nisar's sense of his location, being an Indian, and the kind of connection with America we had those days. All that, and it's not changed that much. So you will be able to relate to that. So America.
Page number?
64. And the thing is, he was such a, I didn't realize this until I started doing the translations. But he's such an urban poet, and he is one of the few Kannada poets of that stature who was born in Bangalore, lived in Bangalore his whole life, died in Bangalore, and wrote about Bangalore with so much affection. And he wrote about, Gandhi Bazaar, of course. In his first poetry collection, he was only 24. What a lovely title. It's called Manasu Gandhi Bazaar. What a lovely what a lovely title. And then he goes on to, in the Sales Girl Matukate, there was Koshi's, there was Plaza. So it's a time capsule of Bangalore itself in the 70s. What people used to do. Gregory Peck, Marilyn Monroe, they're all invoked. So, you read his poetry, you get a sense of history. So as you read, you actually follow along and you see history happening in the background. Which tells us, like we were discussing, that he was a poet who responded very deeply. He wasn't an ivory tower poet at all. He lived in the world and he responded to what was happening in the world with poetry. Anyway, so this must have been written in some 1960s, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. America, America. Whenever they talk about your Sanskriti, singing its praises, raising it to the skies, my fingers itch to rip the suits and ties and skirts from your people, one by one, and expose them, to raise from the blood spills Spanish, German, Portuguese, English, Negro, pirates, murderers, whores, shove them in your face and guffaw. Then I see their faces, Lincoln, Kennedy, King. My words falter, I stutter, stop, and press my palms together respectfully, tongue-tied. Whenever you jerk off as you crush underfoot communists, Nazis, others, amassing validation via Time and Life, you arrogant brute, Time and Life are the magazines, I gather my phlegm and spit at you, draining my vodka as I shoot the breeze with Castro, de Gaulle, Ho Chi Minh, Nasser, until, over the sudden sharp stab of the memory of China Park swords, I notice extended towards me. This is so true today also. Your 6,000-mile long hand of custodial friendship, and shut up.
Yeah. I'll read one other stanza from the same poem. It's a long poem, but I like this stanza. Each time your people gift their children Tommy guns on their birthdays, I dream of snatching them from their little hands, flinging them, swapping them for Bibles, Gitas, and Qurans, of irradiating your people's pale as the sheet they stepped on faces, with the luminous wisdom of ancient sages, of ironing out the frown lines above Johnson's knitted eyebrows, of painting his lips with Nehru's rosy smile. Right? Yeah. So, that's the kind of, he lived his time.
Yeah.
He was responding to everything that was happening around him, political and otherwise, right? And Roopa mentioned Gandhi Bazaar. There's a poem on Morning in Gandhi Bazaar. So, which was again a very, when we read it first, it came as such a surprise, that the place we know so well. ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ರೋಡು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪದ್ಯ ಬರೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಪೋಯಟಿಕ್, ಇನ್ ದ ಸಹ್ಯಾದ್ರಿ. ಈಗ ಕುವೆಂಪು ಅವರ ಸೂರ್ಯೋದಯದ ಕವಿತೆಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಓದಿ ಬೆಳೆದವ್ರು ನಾವು. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹೂ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಹೂ ಗ್ರೂ ಅಪ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಬೇಂದ್ರೆಸ್ ಪೋಯಮ್ ಬೆಳಗು, ಮೂಡಲ ಮನೆಯ ಮುತ್ತಿನ ನೀರಿನ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಪೋಯಮ್ ಬೈ ಬೆಳಗು ಬೇಂದ್ರೆ. And Kuvempu, several poems on the sunrise. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಓದ್ದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇದು ಗಾಂಧಿ ಬಜಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಗ, ವಾಟ್ ಡಸ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಲುಕ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಂತ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಓದ್ತೀನಿ, ಅವರು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಓದ್ತಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಬಜಾರಿನ ಬೆಳಗಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹುಂಜ, ಗುಡಿ ಗಂಟೆ, ಮಸೀದಿಯ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರ, ರಂಗವಲ್ಲಿ, ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಳ್ಳಿ ಸುಲಿಯೋ ಹುಡುಗಿ, ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ನಕ್ಷತ್ರ, ಎತ್ತಿನ ಕತ್ತಿನ ಗೆಜ್ಜೆ, ನೇಗಿಲ ಭೋಗಿ, ಎಕ್ಕಡವಿಲ್ಲದ ಗಡಸು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ, ರಾಗಿ ಬೀಸುವ ಪದ, ಅಗ್ಗಿಷ್ಟಿಕೆ, ಮುದುಕಿಯ ಗುಡಿಸಲ ಕದ ಇತ್ಯಾದಿ ಜಾನಪದ, ಸರಕಿನ ಪರಿಚಯ ಎಳ್ಳಷ್ಟೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮೊದಲ ಶಿಫ್ಟಿನ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ ಬಸ್ಸೋ ಇಲ್ಲವೇ ಆಟೋ, ಹಲ್ಕಿರುವ ಎಸೋ, ಹಲಗೆ ಕೆಳಗಿನ ಕತ್ತೆ ಕಂಠದ ಒರಟೋ, ಹೋಟೆಲಿನ ಕುರ್ಚಿಗಳ ಧಡಬಡ, ಹಾಡಿಯ ಪರಿಷ್ಕೃತ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳ ದನಿ ಬಗ್ಗಡ, ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಮುಗಿಸಿದ ಭಾರ ರೆಪ್ಪೆಯ ಬೀಟಿನ ಪೊಲೀಸಿನ ಲಾಠಿ, ಇಲ್ಲವೇ ಬೂಟೋ, ಜಾಡಮಾಲಿಯ ಹರಕಲು ಶರಟೋ, ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಥವೇ ಇನ್ನೆಷ್ಟೋ ಪೌರ ವೈಶಿಷ್ಟ್ಯಗಳ ಪ್ರತಿನಿತ್ಯದ ಅಲಾರಂ. It was a very different kind of morning, and she.
No, but tell about what you felt that was a shift.
Yeah. So that kind of urban sensibility to see that somebody was making a poem out of such a common, ordinary urban life, and yet it could be poetry.
It could be poetry.
Another,
yeah,
it was a
exactly.
nice, like how she said about sales girl.
Yeah.
So these are all very ordinary subjects for poetry, but that was happening those days.
Gandhi Bazaar mornings. Gandhi Bazaar mornings have not even a passing familiarity with. So this is the last line in the Kannada poem. Ellashtu familiarity illa comes in the last line. I put it in the first line because that's how it flows, the language. So Gandhi Bazaar mornings have not even a passing familiarity with common morning traditions. Neither cock crow, nor muezzin call, nor temple carillon. These are not the dominion of the merry jingle of oxen bells or their light morning step, which tells of beasts still free of the plough's burden. Here no fresh-faced girl unburdens the jasmine creeper of its silver blossoms. You hear no snatch of song, no hum of women milling the morning grain, or the creak of the old woman's brazier lid in the hut down the lane. Instead, the rumble of first shift factory bus, the grumble of auto, and grinning SO truck. Okay, so the funny part is in the Kannada poetry collection, SO is written in English.
Yeah.
In Roman.
SO.
Yeah. So otherwise we'll say, what is SO? You'll start thinking it's a Kannada word and what could it mean? So they've clearly said it's an SO truck, okay, which itself is a time capsule. Again, it tells you there were those kinds of trucks. The grumble of auto and grinning SO truck, plus the bray of wood scraping against floor, and more. Din of push-pulled restaurant chairs, clamorous. Residue of morning bird call, unglamorous. Clatter of bleary-eyed policeman's lathi and boot. The sweeper in his tattered shirt, en route to somewhere. These and more such urban delights pass for morning alarms in Gandhi Bazaar, alas.
Yeah. I think, thinking of Gandhi Bazaar, here is a poem which I love, but it is not included in this collection. So I'll just share this one little poem with you. It's about Masti. Masti Venkatesh Iyengar is a very well-known Kannada writer of the first, earlier generation in the modern times. And Masti was a denizen of Gandhi Bazaar, not just a citizen. He really inhabited the place, and there was a regular routine that he would follow, Vidyarthi Bhavan, the Basavangudi Club, etc., etc. And that was Masti. I'm reading this poem not so much because it is about Masti, but what it shows you about Nisar, right? As a younger poet and writer, the way he talks about an older poet, says more about Nisar than about Masti. Of course, Masti is great. Of course, Masti is kind. All of that is true. But wait for the last two lines, which I shall translate as I read it. ಸದಾ ಇವರು ಹೀಗೆಯೇ. ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಬಜಾರಿನ ಹಿರಿ ಚೌಕದ ಎದುರಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿಗರೇಟು ಸೇದುತ್ತಲೋ, ಪತ್ರಿಕೆ ಓದುತ್ತಲೋ, ಹರಟುತ್ತಲೋ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಎದುರಾಗುವರು ಇದ್ದಕ್ಕಿದ್ದಂತೆ ನಿರ್ದಿಷ್ಟ ಸಮಯದಂತೆ. As though a time set, he would be there, and while you are smoking or there he comes. Right? ವಯಸ್ಸು ಅನುಭವ ಹೂಡಿ ಸುಖ ದುಃಖ ಬೆಳೆದ ಮುಖ, ಹಿಂದೊಮ್ಮೆ ನೆಲೆಸಿದ್ದ ಬೆಳಕ ಕನಬರಿಸುತ್ತಿಹ ಮಂದಗಣ್ಣು. ವಯಸ್ಸು ಅನುಭವ ಹೂಡಿ ಸುಖ ದುಃಖ ಬೆಳೆದ ಮುಖ, face that has weathered sukha and dukkha, and that's a face. And at one time there was light in the eyes, but today it is ಸಾಂತ್ವನದ ಸಾಂತ್ವನವ ನುಡಿದಿರುವ ಹಳೆ ನಮೂನೆಯ ಚಶ್ಮ. The chashma is kind of speaking words of, consolation, ಸಾಂತ್ವನ. ಅದೇ ಕೊಡೆಯ ಗದೆ. That. ಬೆದರಿಸಲು ಭಿಕ್ಷುಕರ ಹುಡುಗನ, to shoo away beggars. ಬೀದಿ ಕುನ್ನಿ, street dogs. ಹೋಲಿ ದನಗಳು, the cow and all the cattle. ಎದುರಿಸಲು ಮಳೆ ಬಿಸಿಲ ದಾಳಿಯನ್ನು, to face rain and ಇದು. ಸಾಲು ವೃಕ್ಷದ ಹಕ್ಕಿ ಹಿಕ್ಕೆಯನ್ನು. Those who know Gandhi Bazaar know it's full of trees, and you know what happens with trees. Birds happen, and birds do what they do. So they need, you need protection. Yeah. ಇವರು ನನ್ನೆದುರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾದು ಹೋದಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಾಡಿನ ಕಡೆಯ ಸುಪ್ರಸನ್ನತೆಯೊಂದು ನಗರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂದಂತೆ, ಬೆಳಗಾಗ ಚಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಸಿನೀರ ಮಿಂದಂತೆ ಎದೆ ಸ್ವಚ್ಛಗೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತದೆ, ಹಗುರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಲ್ಲುತ್ತದೆ. I have to translate.
Yeah.
Whenever he passes close to me, what does it feel like? ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಾಡಿನ ಕಡೆಯ ಸುಪ್ರಸನ್ನತೆ ಒಂದು. ಸುಪ್ರಸನ್ನತೆಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು? ಪ್ಲೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್, joy, a pleasant contentness, suprasannate, as if a pleasant contentment is slowly passing through. And where does it come from? From the village, because there's no contentment here, you see, in the urban. So it's a rural contentment is slowly drifting and coming through into the city. That's how he appears. Okay? And what's the effect? ಬೆಳಗಾಗ ಚಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಸಿನೀರ ಮಿಂದಂತೆ. In the early morning cold, having a nice hot water bath. That's how it feels. ಎದೆ ಸ್ವಚ್ಛಗೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತದೆ. Not the body. Your heart feels cleansed, he says. Your heart feels cleansed. ಹಗುರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಲ್ಲುತ್ತದೆ. You feel light. What a compliment. What a compliment. And look at this. Look at the unconventional way in which he describes a certain quality which you can't easily even see, right? That is Nisar. Yeah.
Maybe you should wind up. Krishna we will read, yes. And Savati Makka.
ಎರಡು. ನಾವು ಎರಡು ಹೇಳಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ.
ಬೆಣ್ಣೆಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. And ನಿನ್ಮೊಡನಿದ್ದು ಇದೆ, that's also there. And
I'll sing 2 lines. You should tell me who might be the author of these 2 lines. ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಕದ್ದ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೃಷ್ಣ, ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಕದ್ದ ನಮ್ಮ, ಬೆಣ್ಣೆಯ ಕದ್ದು ಜಾರುತ್ತ ಬಿದ್ದು ಮೊಣಕಾಲು ಉದಿಸಿಕೊಂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಕದ್ದ. So what is the poem about? Krishna, right? So see, Nisar has written this poem about baby Krishna, and his writing is full of such allusions to our Hindu scriptures, Hindu gods, Hindu characters, right? And something like that, that's why I called it a kind of a Renaissance man. He talks about how his father, Mr. Haidar, insisted that he studies in the, goes to a Kannada school and not to an Urdu school, right? His father was so far-sighted that he wanted Nisar to go to Kannada school so that he can imbibe Kannada literature. And the son, redeems that pledge of the father.
Totally, yeah.
And so he had read in so many, he was so familiar with all the myths and so on and so forth. And he has written
not
this.
only myths, like deep Vedantic philosophy. It comes out so many times in his poetry.
Yeah.
He truly, that was also very difficult for me to translate. You know, it's, shall I read one poem? One quickly. I'll just quickly.
ಯಾವುದು ಕಡಲ?
ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು very beautiful.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So 27, page 27 for whoever wants to follow it. So it's called The Sowing. So he does this over and over again. He takes a very normal activity, and then as it goes, 27, and as it goes on, it becomes deeply philosophical, and you're left with, you know, you just feel uddhara. Then just by reading that poem only, you get some new thoughts in your head, which is just so beautiful. So this is about a farmer sowing. Okay? To believe that the harvest depends on what you wish for and not on what you sow is sheer folly. Knowing this well, the sower has cleared his field of dirt and weeds and into it has cast his seeds. Someday he hopes the monsoon rain will heed the call of the land and deign to fall upon it. And golden shoots will spring forth gleaming. Such are the dreams the sower is dreaming. Until such time, there's a clock to be heeded, incessant sweat and toil to be ceded to the business of life. And yet he waits for the moment when, having taken root, the crop bursts into glorious fruit. Like an anxious father outside the birthing room, he paces the floor, praying that life will bloom. That is one. To believe that every seed slumbering in between the dark, moist layers of the soil will fruit is sheer folly. Some will fall prey to wasp and worm. Some in stony cracks will forever squirm. Some are entirely devoid of life's germ. Some will die after sprouting poor sods. Some carry disease within their pods. And what of random alien spawn which hitchhiked or with the wind came along? They are no use to the sower, even if they be strong. Such precious few of the seeds that are sowed will fulfill their destiny, crack the divine code. Of the countless sperm that seek sublimation, only one deemed worthy will find consummation. Knowing this well, the sower has cleared his field of dirt and weeds, and into it has cast his seeds. Now he paces the floor, praying that life will bloom like an anxious father outside the birthing room.
So what shall we link this to? What aspect of philosophy do we know? This poem
This
seems
is exact
to...
that. Yes, exactly.
Nishkama karma.
Yeah.
And karmanyavadhikaraste. See how well an imagery is used.
So beautiful. Just every poem.
So it's not therefore just a matter of referring or alluding to a character or a myth, but it's also very deeply embedding his poetry, his vision in, you know, like in a very composite kind of a philosophy. Samanvaya, you know. ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಸಮನ್ವಯ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋ ಒಂದು ಮನಸ್ಸಿದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೆರ್ ಎವರ್ ದೇ ಕಮ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್. ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಸನ್. ಬಟ್ ಈವನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸಮನ್ ಆಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ ಹಿಮ್, the circumstances around, the political, social life around has become so polarized today. It had started even earlier, right, in his own time. And that angst of relating to the world outside, a somewhat hostile world or a difficult world to, negotiate with, that you see in his poetry. And ನಿಮ್ಮೊಡನಿದ್ದು ನಿಮ್ಮಂತಾಗದೆ, I am with you, but I have never become part of you. With a very pain. It's an expression of pain, right? And I will read it in Kannada, and I think Roopa has done a very good job of this poem. I'll just say this. ನಿಮ್ಮೊಡನಿದ್ದು ನಿಮ್ಮಂತಾಗದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮೊಡನಿದ್ದು ನಿಮ್ಮಂತಾಗದೆ, ಜಗ್ಗಿದ ಕಡೆ ಬಾಗದೆ, ನಾನು ನಾನೇ ಆಗಿ ಈ ನೆಲದಲ್ಲೇ ಬೇರೊತ್ತಿದ್ದರೂ ಬೀಗಿ ಪರಕೀಯನಾಗಿ ತಲೆ ಎತ್ತುವುದಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅದು ಬಲು ಕಷ್ಟದ ಕೆಲಸ. ವೃತ್ತದಲ್ಲಿ ಉನ್ಮತ್ತರಾದ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕುಡಿತ ಕುಣಿತ ಕೂಟಗಳು ಕೆಣಕಿ ಕುಣಿಕೆ ಎಸೆದಿದ್ದರೂ ಪಂಚೇಂದ್ರಿಯಕ್ಕೆ ಲಗಾಮು ಜಡಿದು ಜಾರದೆ ನಿಮ್ಮತ್ತ ಸಂಯಮವನ್ನೇ ಪೋಷಿಸಿ ಸಾಕುತ್ತ ರೇಖೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ದೊಂಬರಾಟ ನಡೆಸುವುದಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅದು ಬಲು ಕಷ್ಟದ ಕೆಲಸ. ಒಳಗೊಳಗೆ ಬೇರು ಕೊಯ್ದು ಲೋಕದೆದುರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಹುಯ್ದು ನನ್ನ ಸಲಹುವ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಪಟ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದರೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದಂತೆ ನಟಿಸಿ ಚಕಾರವೆತ್ತದೆ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಡನೆ ಕಾಫಿ ಹೀರಿ ಪೇಪರ್ ಓದಿ ಹರಟಿ ಬಾಳ ತಳ್ಳುವುದಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅದು ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟದ ಕೆಲಸ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಾತುಕತೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹುದುಗಿದ ಬೆಕ್ಕು ಸಂಶಯದ ಪಂಜವೆತ್ತಿ ನನ್ನ ನಂಬಿಕೆ, ನಿಯತ್ತು, ಹಕ್ಕು, ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಸಾಚಾತನವನ್ನು ಪರಚಿ ಒತ್ತಿ ನೋವಿಗೆ ಕಣ್ಣು ತುಂಬಿದ್ದರೂ ಚೆಲ್ಲಿದ ರಕ್ತದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯತೆಯ ಧಾತುಗಳ ನನ್ನೆದುರಿನಲ್ಲೇ ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡುವ ಕ್ಷಣವನ್ನು ಹುಸಿನಗುತ್ತ ಎದುರಿಸುವುದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಬಲು ಕಷ್ಟದ ಕೆಲಸ.
So beautiful, so painful actually. To be with you but not be one of you. To be with you but not become you. To resist bending over on cue. Page 80. To stay true to myself despite my need to belong. To make light of the deep, strong roots that tie me to this earth. To walk with head held high as if still assured of my worth. Now that is a very difficult thing. To stay away from your frenzied, drunken dance, even though you bait me, try to snare me into giving it a chance. To rein in my senses, to nourish only restraint and let it flourish. To shimmy and swing only within the confines of firmly drawn lines. Now that is a very difficult thing. To make an outward show of nurturing a tree whose roots are fracturing, to see through your deception and still pretend I don't, to display no ill will as I chat and laugh and drain a cuppa with you, reading my paper as each day dawns anew. Now that is a very difficult thing. When the feline you keep hidden in your pleasant talk unsheaths a suspicious claw, puts me in the dock, questions my beliefs, intent, integrity, and disgraces me, to hide my pain and watch as you look for traces of my patriotism in the blood your words have drawn, even as I stand there smiling, stoic, worn. Now that is a very difficult thing.
ಏನದು? ಹಾಂ, ಅದೇ ಒಂದು ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಂದರೆ he is a bundle of several things, many layered. So at one level he is a ghazal man. He has written, he has even translated a famous ghazal from Hindi, Fir Wahi Sham.
He only took the first line and
wrote his own. ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ, ಅದೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಅದು ಯಾವುದು? ಮತ್ತದೇ ಬೇಸರ ಅದೇ ಸಂಜೆ ಅದೇ ಏಕಾಂತ, ನಿನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಮಾತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಮನವಿಭ್ರಾಂತ, ಮತ್ತದೇ ಬೇಸರ ಅದೇ ಸಂಜೆ ಅದೇ ಏಕಾಂತ. ಇದು ಆ ಪದ್ಯದ
And she has a bad throat, by the way.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಫುಲ್ ಏನೋ ಕೆಣಕಿದ್ರೆ ಫುಲ್ ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ಅದೊಂದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಇನ್ ದ 70s we grew up, our romance grew up on these songs, you see. So how can I not sing them ಅಂತ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಅವರು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದೇ ನೆನಪು ಇದಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ. ಹೌದು, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇಟ್. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಮರಿ.
And then we can finish. Memory. If anybody finds memory, please tell me.
I lost it.
ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಷನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್. ಇದು ಪೇಜ್ 118.
118, okay. when everything's been forgotten. That's what I
ಸೊ
call
ಒಂಥರ
it.
ಅದು ಏನೋ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬ್ರೋಕನ್ ಲವ್ ಅಫೇರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂಥರ ಏನೋ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಇಟ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಪೀಲ್ ಟು ಯು ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಇದು. ಇಲ್ಲ ಮರೆತಿರುವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಲ್ಲದ ನೆವವ ಕೂಡಿ ಬರದಿರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಳೆಯ ನೆನಪೇ, ಕಲ್ಲಿನಂದದಿ ಬಿದ್ದು ತಿಳಿಯಾದ ಎದೆಗೊಳವ ರಾಡಿಗೊಳಿಸುವೆಯೇಕೆ ಮಧುರ ನೆನಪೇ ಅಂತ ಹಾಡು.
So Nisar was very lucky, fortunate that so many of his poems were set to music, and but it was not actually. It wasn't fortunate. He made it happen.
I was going to say that. Yeah, he planned for it actually. He asked Mysore Anand Swami if he would make a cassette out of it, and wrote poems and brought this whole ಇದು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರೇ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪದ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಅದನ್ನು ಇವರು ಹಾಡಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಟು ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಅ ಹೋಲ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ದೆನ್ ಈ ಥರ ಈ ಕ್ಯಾಸೆಟ್ ಕವಿಗಳು ಅಂತ ಒಂಥರ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟಿಗ್ಮಾ ಟು ಇಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ನಿಸಾರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಪೋಯಿಟ್ರಿ ಕೇಮ್ ಅ ಹೋಲ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅದರ್ಸ್. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆನೂ KS ನರಸಿಂಹಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು, ಕುವೆಂಪು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಡುಗಳಿತ್ತು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. ಆಕಾಶವಾಣಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋರು HR ಲೀಲಾವತಿ ಈ ಥರದವರೆಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಸೆಟ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಸುಮಾರು mid-70s ಆದಮೇಲೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಹಾಡುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಇತ್ತು. ಮತ್ತದೇ ಬೇಸರ ಇದು, ಮತ್ತು BR ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಣರಾವ್ ಅವರು, HSV ಎಲ್ಲರ ಪದ್ಯಗಳು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬಂತು. ಬಟ್ ಇವರು ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ವಾಸ್ ದಿ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಒರಿಜಿನೇಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಗುಡ್ ಲಿರಿಕ್ಸ್, ಗುಡ್ ಎಸ್ಥೆಟಿಕ್ ಲಿರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬರೆದು ಅದನ್ನು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ಡ್ ಅವರ್ ನೋಷನ್ ಆಫ್ what is good poetry. Good poetry is as much poetry that is to be heard as song, as ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರದ್ದು ಬಂತದೊಂದು. ಸೊ ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಓದ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಈ ನೆನಪೇ ಪದ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಶಾಲ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿಸ್ ನೆನಪು.